All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Cincinnati Bengals in today's video. They have now won 3 straight games thanks to their 24-6 victory at home against the Cleveland Browns this past Sunday. They still have a playoff chance. They're still alive. They're definitely still alive. I really don't think it would be all that crazy for Cincinnati to slip into the playoffs. And if this team gets into the playoffs, everyone on ESPN and NFL media has been saying the same thing. Are they dangerous? Obviously, this team is extremely dangerous. They're extremely lethal. You don't want to play them. But at the end of the day, the Cincinnati Bengals, currently 7-1 against losing teams, and then 0-7 against teams with a winning record. The biggest issue, this is just the most obvious thing, especially if you're a Bengals fan, is the defense. But I know their last 3 games have been against the Browns with, DTR, no Cooper Rush, no Dakota Prescott with the Cowgirls, the Tennessee Titans, whatever's going on over there. I know it's not been the craziest opponents, but what people don't realize is when they think about the Cincinnati Bengals and you think about their defense, people just kind of assume doom and gloom, right? Their defense is not good. It's a historically just horrible defense. And if they were a little bit better at the start of this season, they would have never been 4-8. And when you have Joe Burrow in the season he's having, and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase and Chase Brown, there's no reason this team should have been 4-8 at any point. But the reason was the defense. And what a lot of people don't realize about this defense is it's just extremely young. And like I said, I know it's been 3 not the best offenses in the NFL, but the defense is severely improving. This young defense, they're getting more reps, they're learning, they're making mistakes, they're getting over the hump. They're an improving team. So it's not all over. It's not doom and gloom. It's not like Cincinnati is going to deal with this for the rest of eternity. But it is time to get this defense back on track in the offseason, no matter what that is, whether that's trades, whether that's free agency, whether that's the draft. It's time to get this defense back. But folks, welcome back to the channel. We're obviously talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. I want to go through these playoff odds real quick. But hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Bengals fans, I apologize. We haven't made a video in a way too long of time. Watching these Bengals games really have pissed me off the entire season. There's numerous, and it started in week 2 against the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it started week 1 against the Patriots, but week 2 against the Chiefs, it was just a game they shouldn't have lost. Week 3, Monday Night Football against Washington, that really pissed me off. Week 5 against Baltimore, I don't even know how they lost that football game. That game really pissed me off. And then the second game against Baltimore, I don't know how they lost that game. It's just, if you're a Bengals fan, man, I totally feel you, but this team is still so good on offense, and there's still a lot of pieces with this defense. We're going to highlight 3 in specific in just a minute, but here's what the Bengals need in order to make the playoffs, all right? So they have to beat the Denver Broncos on, a Sunday game? There's a lot of football on this. It might be a Saturday game. I think it's actually a Saturday game. They got to beat the Denver Broncos in week 17, and then you got to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in week 18. So 2 playoff teams. Keep in mind, Denver has a really good chance to make the playoffs, but if they can take care of Denver and some of this stuff happens, never say never. I think the odds are like 12%, 13%. I've seen some 8% depending on what website you see and metric or analytics or whatever. So you got to win the next 2 games. And then you need the Chiefs to beat the Broncos in week 18, which sounds easy in theory, but I think this Broncos team is very talented, and I don't think the Chiefs are really the same old Kansas City Chiefs, despite their 13-1 record. And then they need both the Colts and the Dolphins to lose one of their 2 remaining games. That should be, in theory, very easy. And then the Bengals have a 14% chance to make the playoffs. So it really isn't that crazy. You win your next 2 games against Denver and against Pittsburgh, and then you need Denver to lose to Kansas City. And that would mean Denver does not make the playoffs, and they've got a rookie quarterback. I have a hard time believing, despite playing Cincinnati and Kansas City, that Denver is just going to lose all of these games in a row and just miss out on the playoffs. But it really isn't crazy. I did a live stream a couple of nights ago. You guys should check that out. The link's down below. You can listen to it on podcast form, but we do it live on this channel a couple of times a week. And someone was like, the Bengals are going to make the playoffs. And I looked at him, I was like, that's crazy. Is that even statistically, probable? 14%? Just hearing what, it seems way too low for what they need to happen. I know that's a lot of stuff, but I don't really think that's too far out of the picture. Let me know if you think the Bengals are making the playoffs down below. But On Sunday, Joe Burrow, 23 of 30, 252 yards, 3 touchdowns. The dude's on an MVP season. He's got over 4,200 passing yards, 39 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Chase Brown, the Zach Moss era didn't work out. It didn't go as planned. And then the injury. Chase Brown, we pinpointed this guy a couple of years ago in the draft. There's something there, and you're seeing it this year. It's obvious something there is now, but he had 91 rushing yards on 18 attempts. Jamar Chase, the leading receiver in the NFL, caught 6 catches for 97 yards and a touchdown. And I guarantee you the offseason will be highlighted on, is T. Higgins staying or going? Are they gonna let him walk? Are they gonna give him money? That's gonna be the whole thing all offseason. I'm not too concerned with the Bengals long term. Joe Burrow's 28 years old. This offensive line has dealt with a lot of injuries. Mims said he's going to play Sunday against the Broncos. That's a very big deal. They have a couple of holes. They got a couple of flaws. I could use probably a tight end upgrade. Mike Gesicki didn't really go as planned, but this Bengals offense, no one's concerned because Joe Burrow is going to be a Cincinnati Bengal for a very long time. I wouldn't be surprised if he just played his whole career in Cincy. But he's 39 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. And the best part is, because people were getting a little bit worried about it in the offseason, he's still healthy. So the only negative that I'm seeing right now is this defense, that they're 7-1 against teams with a losing record. But on the other flip side, they're 0-7 against teams with a winning record. But all of this, not to be rude to the defense, it's the defense. They're extremely young. But here's just kind of pinpoints how young they are. The Bengals defense have 8 top 100 picks on rookie contracts on their roster, right? 13 players have taken at least 65 snaps over the last 3 games, the winning streak, and 7 of those 8 are from the top picks. So it's a really young group. Jordan Battle, in the last 2 weeks, he's had 16 tackles. He's had 6 stops, solo tackles for offensive failure. He's had interception. He's had a tackle for loss. He's had a fumble recovery. Jordan Battle, really coming alive. Cam Taylor-Britt, really interesting storyline this year. He got benched twice this season. But then DJ Turner got injured against the Los Angeles Chargers, and he was back to being a starter. And since that game against the Chargers, PFF has him graded as the 4th best cornerback in the league. He's only allowed 76 yards on 9 catches on 15 targets. So, Cam Taylor-Britt just had a really weird season getting benched. And now in the last couple of weeks, he's been the 4th best cornerback in the NFL, and that's the Cam Taylor-Britt I know. DJ Ivey, 7th round pick from last season. He did an interception on Sunday against the Browns. He surrendered only 1 reception for 8 yards and 45 coverage snaps this year. So I know everyone's freaking out. NFL media freaks out about this defense. It's extremely young. Chris Jenkins, Miles Murphy, there's a lot of talent on the defense. They're just very young. Very young group. So whether or not this team makes the playoffs, I'm still very bullish on the Cincinnati Bengals long-term, as crazy as that may sound. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Merry Christmas to everybody. It's Christmas Eve here. Let me know your thoughts. Are the Cincinnati Bengals making the playoffs? Let me know down below. Peace.